Mhm.
Let's maybe bring this into the hypothetical realm, and let's say that you had that $1 million right now to your name, just sitting in cash, but you had to split it between three different uranium companies, Athabasca or not, wherever it might be, but it's you personally, Cory.
Yep.
Which three companies would you pick and why?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Some of that would go into CanAlaska. Okay.
Fair enough.
Some of that would go into CanAlaska. Yes, I can't get it out, but I believe what we're doing, and I believe the market in front of us, and I believe how our projects are responding. Now, obviously, I can't buy at any stage. I have to wait till news clears the table. I have to be very open and transparent about that. So that's very much on the table. I'd probably take a third, and honestly, I'd probably go into the larger space, whether that's a Denison or Cameco type environment. That's a little bit of the sort of leveling of the portfolio. And then the other junior, well, I would sprinkle that around to maybe two or three and basin focused.
Okay.
Now, I don't want to give you names. Know why? Because these are my peers. And
Okay.
some of them
What do you use then? Let me maybe try and figure it out for myself. I'm not going to call out,
sure.
but what do you as a geologist judge a uranium deposit based on? Like, what are you looking for in a company?
I'm looking for one, the model and land. Okay, do they have the land that has the model that I personally, as a geologist, believe is the Athabasca model that will deliver that tier one asset, so that big value for a shareholder? Two, the team. What's the team? Do they have a discovery history? That's not to say that someone who's 50 like myself has discoveries is going to do it again. That's not to say that's going to happen, but there's better odds than not. And there's a few individuals in the space I've known a long time that I follow and I think have what it takes to make those discoveries. Let's put it this way: they're not going to miss the obvious signs of a deposit that's nearby. The subtleties. And we're in a very subtle business. And sometimes two geologists look at the same rock and one goes yes, one goes no. Know who you're investing in. So land, the people, and really just how are they structured? Are they a 300 million share company, or are they something that's more like a CanAlaska that's a little bit better structured, a little less shares outstanding, moves a little quicker perhaps on good news, because ultimately that's what we're here for. We're here to make money. And if it's something that's not CanAlaska, I can actively trade it. Right? If it's CanAlaska, I can't actively trade it really. I'm locked in for the ride, rightfully so.
Right. So good land, good people, good share structure. That's what you're looking for in the first stages.
That's what I really look for. Yeah.
What about, because you're talking specifically Athabasca and the companies that you mentioned are Athabasca-based. Would you ever consider something else, or do you think that other jurisdictions like Africa have too high of a risk?
Let's put it this way, Antonio. One of my jobs at Cameco was traveling the world looking at all different forms of uranium deposits in different jurisdictions. And there's a reason that the majors have really shrunk back to the Athabasca. It's unique, it's high grade. One of my last jobs with Cameco was closing down 2 international exploration offices, right? Those are there ways to make money as an investor out there around the world? Absolutely. But if you can find that tier one asset in the Athabasca, it displaces everything. It pushes them all out. You'll get more multiples on your money than you will in another jurisdiction. And right now, what you're seeing out there, just to be honest, what you're seeing out there around the world are a lot of what we call zombie projects. Projects we saw in the last cycle, a lot of money was spent bringing them to a different level of understanding. They still never moved to production. Many of them will not move to production until you're up around $90, $100 a pound. So if we can find something in the Athabasca that sits in this true tier one, potential, you're not going to have 1 or 2 times your money. You're going to have multiples on that, I believe, and that's what we're here for, right?
Okay.
We're in a high risk environment, and I believe the big ones are going to be found here. Still, there's a lot of opportunity out there, And you can make money elsewhere, absolutely. And some of them are moving it to production. There's a number of companies out there that will be producing uranium in the market when they're in Africa or Australia. I've looked at those deposits over the years. Some of them are good. Some of them are good, definitely. But you're talking about putting, 1 million pounds into the market out of their production, maybe 2. We have an opportunity to find something that's put 20 or 25 million pounds into the market. At a time, I believe the world is going to crave that and need it because of all that's happening in the nuclear space, whether it's just existing reactors, new big ones being built, or critically the SMRs. I mean, just in Canada alone, there's 300 megawatts going into Ontario in SMR technology. Right. That's going to be producing electricity in 2028.
Right.
Well, this is not a fantasy anymore. So what's that going to do? It's going to drive the market. Going to need more uranium, and anything we can find in the Athabasca, tier 1-ish, I'll say ish, because even if it's pushing toward tier 2, it's still better than most tier 2s around the world, has potential to really, really build value for shareholders. And you got to remember, you're facing a world in the Eastern Athabasca where the tier 1 production, Cigar MacArthur, is fully offline in about 15 years.
Well, there's pros and cons to any jurisdiction, I guess. And what you have in Athabasca, obviously the clear examples, the 2 biggest pros, I guess, would be size and metallurgy. The metallurgy is as straightforward as it get, right? Uraninite's what it is in the Athabasca. That's what people like it. But like in Africa, you would have fast permitting, for example. You can find something, talk about the best performer of the last cycle, Paladin. What did they do? They found they were a nothing company, but then they found something, they developed it, and they went into production. They sold pounds into the market within 1 cycle. What other place can you do that? Really, that's not happening in the Athabasca Basin. So how do you weigh those pros and cons? What do you think the Athabasca really has those?
I mean, again, for CanAlaska, the perspective is, yes, you're going to get those players in other jurisdictions that can move it forward in the next, say, 15 years. Let's just look at that 15-year block. There's going to be a number of production centers come online, guaranteed, again, but they're not going to be producing the big Athabasca pounds generally. What's important for us and our shareholders is, again, we're not looking to produce the uranium in 15 years. We're looking to make that discovery, build that big multiple on the share price, and get it into the hands of a Cameco, Orano, some other entity that's going to move this forward to production 15 to 20 years down the road. That's not our game. Our game is still in the next 5 to 10 years here, making that big discovery, proving it up, building that value, getting it out, and go do it again.
Okay.
And I say do it again because, if we do it right, and our portfolio still has lots of opportunity in it for yet another discovery and another cycle. Again, focused on that front end value creation. So our time frame is very much near term. I'm not too worried about 15 other than what is needed in the Eastern Athabasca. And that's another tier 1 asset, because right now it doesn't exist.
Makes sense. Definitely makes sense for CanAlaska specifically, because it's sort of like jurisdiction. The better jurisdiction depends on the strategy of the company. If the company's strategy is to become a producer and be valued based on a free cash flow basis, maybe the Athabasca Basin is not the best place. But if your strategy is to find something huge and have someone around you that has a lot of money to pay for that something huge, then maybe the Athabasca makes more sense. Okay.
Exactly, Antonio. Exactly. All the power to those that are going to produce uranium in the next 15 years from other jurisdictions. Absolutely. But, you're going to need a lot of those to try and fill the gap that's coming, and, and coming quicker than we maybe think. And, I just look at it and I go, are you going to have major companies have 3 milling facilities sitting in the Eastern Athabasca doing nothing? They're going to be having an appetite for any discovery that looks like a tier 1.